Dr. Wright, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for letting me be here today.
Let's start with, I want to talk about your transition. You started your career as a Green Beret medic, I believe.
hmm
And then, and here, obviously, I know nothing about that environment, but I imagine it's extreme, high stakes environments. And then you transition to more of conventional Western medicine. But something in there, you're like, this isn't enough for how I experienced the healing and what people actually need. So can you kind of walk us through the journey? And like
Yeah,
at what point you realized that you needed a different framework for the healing
for
that you were
sure.
looking for? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was in the military in the green. I was a Green Beret, which is also called Special Forces, and everybody on a team has not only the standard training to be on that team, but they also have a specific job on that team.
Okay.
And so a medic is one of those jobs. So I loved medicine and fell in love with healing people and physiology and all those sorts of things. We do a lot of trauma, obviously, in the military, but then we also did follow-on training where we learned how to do sort of more doctory stuff. And I loved
That's
it.
the official term,
Um,
the doctory stuff.
yeah,
Got
it
it.
wasn't
Got
just like saving their lives. It was also then we had to do follow-on care, have them, stabilize them, give them medications and all that sort of thing.
it. Mm.
And then we also learned how to help people that were like when we would work with a certain people group, we would also help them, we'd have different weekends where we would bring the whole village there and try to treat them with whatever types of medicines we could get our hands on and things like that. So that was pretty fun.
So you were like the
Yeah.
MacGyver of medicine. You're like, well, this tree will do, this leaf. Like, tell me when you say
Yeah, that kind
that's
of.
where my
I
mind goes.
mean,
You t made me paint us a picture when you say that, like, we'll kind of use what was at our disposal. What did that
hmm
look like in the
Yeah.
villages?
So yeah, it was unconventional for sure, and we really would. I mean, MacGy, that's sort of a that's a little bit more of a compliment than I deserve, but we really did try to figure out what we could do with whatever we had available to us. So if it was trauma, we learned how to make tourniquets with sticks and string, or if someone needed medication, we would try to procure some sort of official, efficient, effective antibiotic. Could this antibiotic work for that thing, even though it's not technically correct or whatever? Like if, they would have diarrhea and in this village all the time, and it's like, well, you could give this medication, but let's try to go upstream and figure out why is everyone getting diarrhea? Is it the water or whatever what's in there? So this mindset of trying to use whatever we have available to us to help as much as possible and sort of go upstream and get to the root cause, which is a obviously popular term in the last 10 or 15 years. That was sort of the mindset that we had generally because it was how we operated. And so that came into play later on in the story. But that's what it looked like. It looked like for trauma, you use whatever literally sticks and rocks you have. If you have different tools, you use those. If and for medications, the same thing. So it looked different ways. But that was the mindset of using whatever you have available to you and going upstream. That was sort of standard and how they practice in the Green Berets and also other Navy and Marines and all that stuff too. They do the same sort of thing.
Did you go into it with that kind of mindset, like whatever I have available to me, go upstream, or is this a mindset shift that happened in the military?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because it's sort of common sense, right? Like you just sort of do whatever you have, whatever you can with whatever you have available to you, regardless of what. I mean, when you're a kid and you want to build a fort in the woods, you just use whatever's in the woods and you try to build a fort or a fort in your house, right? I have kids and we play with stuff and we just build forts out of whatever we have, pillows and all that stuff. So it's like anything in life. You're gonna cook something, well, we don't have this, but can we substitute it for some other type of food, you know? It's just like how normally humans live. And that's why it was sort of strange when I got into medicine, where it's like there's a one particular way to do it and otherwise it's wrong. That didn't really sit well with me, right? But I think it made sense and I never thought really about it when I was younger and then growing up and then in the military, it just sort of made sense and it just seems commonsensical to me.
Yeah. Well,
It was
listen, what's
only after that
commonsensical
that
to
I
you?
realized, wow. Hmm?
Yeah, because like I mean, I get a front row seat to a lot of people's brains. And so I will say that may be common sense and natural to you, a natural set point. But to compare it, like with the example that you just gave, like in medicine, there's one right way and everything else is wrong. A lot of people are looking for that. Like, what's the one right answer? And
hmm
that can limit sort of that creativity that you're talking about and that ingenuity and the innovation. When you're like, I'm not just open to a way, I'm looking for the way, which can shut people
Right.
down.
Yeah, that's true. That there may this is sort of getting deep already, but that's philosophical for sure. I think some people are set up certain ways, and there's an aspect of things where we well want to optimize it. We want to be as efficient and effective as possible, and that's true. I think we get stuck when we try to make things always binary. That could be politics, that could be anything. When there's no nuance, there's no gray area, it's black and white, binary, that gets us into trouble in every aspect of life, I think. But certain, I think personality types lend themselves to being somewhere on that spectrum more naturally. I think, and I'm someone who is leans toward not being a rule follower, and so I've had to, I'm the one that's going to get in trouble more than other people, and always have been.
Uh-huh.
Um, but and that's not I'm not that's not good. Well, it's just it's not necessarily good, right?
Listen, I
So
feel like the title of this podcast should be like rule breakers as a goal because
yeah,
I will listen as a self-professed rule-bound human, like in recovery, like trying to be like that's why when you're like, this is just so just natural, I'm like, well, I need a 1 through 5 action plan, right? Like I
yeah,
like I have to work really hard to overcome some of the survival strategies, I'll call them, right? That was like, no, no, you have to find the one right answer. Da, 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 this is where safety lies. But what you're saying, I want to double down on something or double click on something you just said. That it's in the black and white. So again, I tend to work with a lot of folks probably because it's how my brain works. That is like, no, there's a lot of safety in the black and white, right? Like, yeah, yes or no, right, wrong, good, bad. And I love that you said, actually, that gets us in a lot of trouble in a lot of areas of life. So tell me what, like, say more, give us examples. Like, how might we get in trouble if we don't live in the gray and we're looking for the black and white and we're stuck there? What problems does that
right.
create?
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. I think if I okay, so medical doctors as a whole, if you and this is a bell curve, okay? So don't hear me saying every single medical doctor, just like every single this type of person or that type of person, man, woman,
We
whatever
already
you
know
want
you
to
don't do
say.
black and white, doc. We
There's
already
no
know
black
you're
and
in the
white,
gray.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's a bell curve, but generally medical doctors feel safe
yeah,
with guidelines.
yeah.
And I love that you said that. That's exactly how I feel most medical doctors think. They love guidelines and they feel safe there. And there's a lot of reason for that. One of them is medical legal,
Mhm.
where they feel like if they have listened, if they've done the guideline and something bad happens, they can just fall back on that as a safety net and say, well, this was the guideline, this is exactly what I did. Now I'm not responsible.
Mhm.
They also there's obviously a lot of overlap with medical legal responsibility and patient care, and they actually do care about their patients and want them to be as healthy and as possible. And they do the
Yep.
same things for their families and their children that they recommend for everyone else. So it's not like there's two different ways that they treat people, but they do feel safe where there are guidelines medical legally, and that makes them feel like they have done the best thing that they could possibly do. What science, I don't know how much you want to get into this part of it, but
Yes.
what science has shown that the best thing to do is, right? So they love a so the gold standard is a meta-analysis of large double-blind randomized placebo-controlled trials. That's the gold standard of scientific
Rolls
evidence. And
right off the tongue. Yeah.
that's where they want to live, right? Yeah, exactly. And so they want to live there. And if it doesn't stand up to that level of that level of scientific basis, then they don't want to do it really because then there's not enough evidence. You'll hear
Mhm.
medical doctors say lots of things like there's not good quality evidence or there's not sufficient evidence to show this. And so therefore I'm
Mhm.
not going to recommend it. So they have a high bar for a high bar for evidence for them to recommend something.
Yeah.
So that is a good idea. That's the optimal way to practice, but that leaves all the other stuff not done. Uh and there are lots of things that we can do that are beneficial for humans that don't have good quality evidence or sufficient evidence if the bar is so high. And in a way, to answer your question, that can get us in trouble in just medicine is that we're leaving on the table all these alternative therapies and ways to help people, and people are suffering, and they've done the gold standard stuff, and they're
Mhm.
left with their hands open saying, "What else can we do? Because I've done all the stuff that I know to do and that my doctors told me to do. What else is there?" And you
Mhm.
can't just say there's not enough high quality evidence for anything else, so you just give up.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. And that's
Yeah.
where lots and lots of people end up, especially. standard. So most people that seek out healthcare are women, and so I'll
Uh,
use them as an example.
okay.
So I'm a woman and I go to the doctor and I say I've got low energy. All of a sudden have difficulty losing weight. I'm not sure if I'm perimenopausal yet. I've got brain fog. I just something's off and I don't know what it is. Well, there's not a test for that. There's not
Right.
a drug for that. And so doctors say, well, you know, work out more, maybe eat better. They don't even have specific recommendations for it.
Uh,
There aren't any specific guidelines other than the Mediterranean diet and yeah, get a certain amount of 30 minutes of exercise once a day or something. That's pretty much it. No nutritional guidance, no protein, nothing, right?
so like guess.
Except, yeah. And so that's
Trial and error.
that's all the women in the in the country, right? And so that's very common, and they're just stuck because there's not enough good quality evidence to suggest some sort of thing, but you're letting all these people suffer. That's one way that we can get into trouble with it. And anytime you pick anything, let's say, let's just be political because why not,
Why
right, for
not?
public, right?
Yeah.
On one end, you've got, well, let's be a like just pick an extreme side of either side, right?
Mhm.
Well, either if you say I'm a Republican, well then now you're a racist Trump supporter with a truck and a gun who is, whatever, or you are a liberal. Well, now you think people can turn into cats and hate, bring everybody in and let's don't like there's no such thing as, free markets are stupid and let's all be communist. Well, those are caricatures
Hmm.
and extreme versions of what most people are somewhere in the middle where they
Hmm.
realize that there are two points of view,
Hmm.
that there are multiple points of view, and each individual you can't just put everyone in a box and say, well, you adhere to all these ideologies on this list because you're in this particular Republican box, and vice
Right.
versa for the other side. You have to say, well, each issue is very, very complex and nuanced. And if you're going to uncover the truth is not simple. The truth is not and never simple. And
Hmm.
so you have to have a long conversation about each particular topic. Well, now that everyone's on social media, it doesn't, long form's way better, obviously, but if TikTok, Instagram stuff, you got
Yeah, we
90
love a
seconds or
sound
whatever,
bite. Yeah, don't
sound
give it.
bites,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
There's no context for anything.
Mhm.
There's no room for a conversation, and there's no room for complexity because complexity takes, by definition, longer to talk about. And
Right.
so that doesn't exist. And so you've limited yourself to never uncovering the truth about anything because there's no gray area. Well, everything is pretty much a gray area.
Right.
So it gets us into trouble in just general life when you are trying to learn or uncover truth. Um, and that's how medicine is too in the human body. I mean, I mean, I just did a reel the other day where someone likened treating patients to a pilot on an airplane. And the difference in that analogy where it breaks down is a pilot on an airplane knows about the entire airplane because it's a man-made thing. So there's only so many nuts and bolts to know about. We've
Hmm.
made it, right? So you can
Yeah.
know 100% about an airplane.
Yeah.
Well, the human body is nowhere near that. We don't even understand. We understand. We've licked the surface of the iceberg, basically, of the microbiome, for instance, right? We don't know anything
Uh-huh.
about it. We
Yeah.
know a few things, and it just the deeper and deeper we go, the more we don't know about the human body. And so there's no way to know everything about it. It's all a gray area, and it's all this huge sort of uh, I don't know, wilderness
Yeah.
of, well, let's all try to use as much truth as we have to uncover as much as we can. And if you don't do that, if you're only going to set the bar so high that only a large double-blind RCT can give you the data to suggest that you make an intervention, then you're just leaving 95% of the possibilities of helping people on the table. And that's to me unacceptable.
Yeah, okay, so that's a great place to sit. As you were saying that, I was thinking, yeah, we talk about like space as the final frontier. I'm like, no, turns apparently the human body, right?
Mm.
I'm so glad you used that analogy that a plane is man-made, so it is possible to know 100% of it. We were like, we don't really know I mean, there's some people do, some people think they do, right? Like, but that's an uncertainty. That's an unknown. That is not in a double-blind meta, whatever all of the other words were required to have a test. Like to definitively say this is where we came from we don't we're not and we don't know there's a whole lot that's unknown so what I hear you say like it's like the spirited adventurer in the medicine world is the one who's going to be like well let's go into the frontier. Let's go into this final frontier. And I hear one of the things you're saying as like a guiding force or a guiding value for you is this is how we can help more people.
Yeah, right. That's all
Yeah.
we want to do is help use as much evidence as we possibly have to help as many as we have to help as many people as possible.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
love, because
And there's
listen,
a
because I
spectrum
love a
of
good
evidence.
binary doc. Because I'm
Hmm?
going to hit you with another binary. Because
Yeah.
I think like sometimes we can go like at the simplest, most essence for like you're either operating out of love or fear, right? And it's interesting because some might say, I know you're like, where's the gray? We'll find the gray for you. But in the medical world, like the way you're framing it, what I hear is an operating out of fear, right? Like it can sound like well intentioned, we might call it put on love, like it's out of service. Like, of course, we would want to be rigorous in our studies and do our due diligence because we're talking about like living life and death situations, but from a place of fear. Like, I can't do this unless it's supported by this amount of evidence because then I'll have a better sense that it's going to help you. And also, I can CYA if I get fired or if I get like sued, right?
Right. Yep.
But what I hear saying is like, we can actually help more people. And what I hear is, I'm willing to go in this place. So I don't hear fear. I mean, I don't know if you would be like, I operate from a place of love in my business and practice, perhaps, but like I hear it's certainly not from a place of fear. If you're willing to go into some of the non-meta, double blind, all the things test,
Hmm. Yeah.
you're not operating out of fear in your exploration. Is that a fair
Yeah, I think
assessment?
that's true. I think I'm able because so there's a big split. You either as a medical doctor, as a health practitioner, provider, or whatever you want to call it, regardless of your specific credentials, you have to decide if you're going to work for the man
Hmm.
or work for not the man, right? So
Hmm.
you work for the man, you have that's where most of the fear there are lots and lots of guidelines. If you work for a hospital system and an insurance company and a pharmacy, they're all in cahoots, right? But
Yeah.
you have to work for them if you're going to do certain things for people, if you're going to be able to access an MRI machine and a radiologist and a surgeon to do things that you need to do, or screenings and have insurance companies pay for all this stuff, you have to operate under that umbrella. And if you
Yeah.
operate under that umbrella, you have to play by their rules. And that's where
Hmm.
most of the fear, I think, comes from. Doctors, I don't think are necessarily scared that they're going to get sued. That's a thing, but they're scared that they will, and I'm speaking for all doctors, which is sort of ridiculous, but I think in my experience, it seems like when I was in residency, I was, obviously working for the conventional system. The fear comes from not obeying the rules
Hmm.
and getting fired or getting in trouble. And there's all this admin and things that are coming down at you. So I think if you can get away from that, a
Yeah.
lot of the fear goes away.
Yeah.
So now the downside is there are a few downsides. Now I can't access an MRI machine. I can't
Mhm.
write whatever's for people. And so they need to have a regular doctor, a conventional doctor that's working in that system. They're very valuable and they have a very particular role and they're very good at that role.
Yeah.
But outside of that system, everything is cash. So I don't,
Mhm.
insurance companies don't cover what I do.
Uh-huh.
And that's good and bad. It's bad
Yeah.
because it'd be nice if insurance companies would cover it.
Right.
But it's good because now I don't have to play by their rules. I can actually do whatever's best for the patient, client. And so because of that, I think I don't have to live in fear. I'm able to have a conversation with the person, we'll call them clients because they're not really,
Yeah.
I like to differentiate. Patients are conventional patients. Clients are people who are paying cash for, uh, let's call it consultations, right?
Yeah.
And so clients who want to be healthy, it's between me and them, and I get to say, look, this is what we have this amount of evidence for. This is what we don't have. What I'm saying right now, I have no evidence for. It's basically just anecdotal, and it's just based on my experience.
Hmm.
This is pretty good evidence for this, but it's not very good, right? So I'm able to explain to them the amount of evidence we have and let them, and we have a risks versus benefits conversation about what we're going to do and how we're going to intervene. And if I say, well, this doesn't have very much evidence, but there's no risk basically that we can detect zero risk from this. Your kidneys
Hmm.
work well, magnesium's an electrolyte, even though it, doesn't have a great level of evidence that it might help your headache. Lots of people are deficient in magnesium. Let's give it a shot. The benefits are way up here. The risks are basically zero. Why not, right?
Yeah.
And there's a whole spectrum of that for each individual thing. So I'm
Yeah.
able to do that without fear because not only am I telling them the amount of evidence, I can't get in trouble, and there's no risk or we're having a risk benefits conversation with them, and it's their decision how much they want to take on based on what they're suffering with and what they want to do and what their risk tolerance is and what's important to them. So because I've given it to them and I'm just a like my mentor used to say, well, you're the captain of the ship, I'm just a navigator. And I love that. And I tell people that all the time.
Hmm.
You're the captain. I have some
Yeah.
experience. I can navigate. You tell me where you want to go. I'll make recommendations, but it's your decision. And so
Yeah.
because of that, there's no fear, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm able to do it that way and why that's how that is.
Well, listen, I feel like this is so parallel because I am a licensed therapist by trade who is a life coach.
Yeah.
Right. So everything you said, I just recently was at a dinner party with a couple other therapists at the table, and you could see like there was sort of a bristling around. They're like, "Oh, you're a licensed and you're a life coach." Like but not me, but sometimes the board frowns upon that, right? Like there's so many rules, but almost exactly what you just outlined is why I love coaching because I
Hmm.
don't it right like what like from just like the PTs for all of the clinicians out there where you're like I have to write a note for insurance that I have to have a whole separate note to actually know where we were at in the session because you have to do these things that are you're like locked up in the system versus the freedom of just being able to like I have a human in front of me. We could just work with all of you and everything, and I just get to support you in being the decision maker and helping you understand your reasons, like your reasons, understand your human operating system, and live from that like all day long,
All day
right?
long. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And then, but my license, not all of them, but some of the call, they were like, clutch my pearls. And I'm like, there was a little bit of me that was like, you can do it too if you want. Right. But then there's this, listen, I happen to be a social worker by trade. So to your point around the cash thing, you're like, yeah, we can all do that. But yeah, the services I offered, I don't take insurance, right? It's private pay. So then of course you get into accessibility and who can all have access. And so I know how I sort of navigate that, but I'm curious for you because you're like, yeah, listen, this is not covered by insurance. So that in and of itself means there's not everyone's going to be able to have access to this level of care or the type of care that you do. So, how do you sort of reconcile that for yourself to get to a yes?
Yeah, to sleep at night. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's a really good question. It's something I've thought about quite a bit. The answer is levels of help.
Mhm.
And so, we can pretend this is a utopia where everyone can afford the same exact thing and everyone will have access to it. But the fact of the world is that money buys more stuff.
Mhm.
And and business is a business. And so in order to do what I do and pay the bills and pay my coaches and pay my team and the software and all that stuff, there has to be money that comes in that's above and beyond what we spend.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. But there are tiers, right? And there are levels that people need. Everyone that wants help, and this is another thing that I'm going to be doing more of soon is going on social media and just teaching people a lot of the things that I need to help them with. But there's a free tier, and then with
Yeah.
everybody that we talk to, there are steps. So there are fundamentals that you do in order to heal, and a lot of the fundamental things that people that spend thousands of dollars to come work with me, I still tell them the same exact thing. They still have to do the same work, which is if stop bringing toxins into your body, for instance, right? If you're sleeping poorly, maybe don't drink 2 glasses of whiskey at 9 p.m., etc. Like you still have to stop doing that stuff if you're going to
Yeah.
heal.
Hmm.
And so for people that have less, financial availability right now, financial, resources, often it's free to stop doing certain things that you don't know that you're doing because you're
Hmm.
stuck buying certain things because of the culture. So there are easy swaps you can make at the grocery store that would make a big difference. There are nighttime alarms you can set from your phone and to get better sleep. Just knowing and having a plan and prioritizing it, you can make a lot of headway in healing by not spending that much money. So we teach them how to do that, right? Stay hydrated. There's so many lifestyle things that are simple. This also goes into and as a social worker, I know you know this very well, way better than I do, but the socioeconomic component of stress and how even if you had resources, if your life is a lot more stressful, you're going to sleep worse.
Hmm.
If you have 4 kids and you're a single mom, then it's going to be a whole lot harder to go to the store and do whatever you need to do that day and also work and then also come home and cook and all that stuff than it is if you have two parents at home. So people have lots of socioeconomic uh, things that hinder them. And so that's the first step. There's no reason to spend thousands of dollars, do a serious detox and all the stuff that we do if you aren't eating healthy food and you aren't sleeping at night and you aren't hydrated. So there are certain things that we can help them with where they just being aware of what they can do for free. Often it's that people just sort of give up. They think, well, they just get in their head and they think, well, I'm not if they're not confident that a change if there's a how would I say this? If there is a barrier to um like it's like an activation energy where like it takes a little bit of work to get over a certain hump,
Mm,
they're not going to do that work unless they're confident that getting over that hump is going to affect some sort of change or they're going to benefit from it.
yeah.
And so just telling them, hey, this is what we do. This is what we do with our clients that spend thousands of dollars to work with us.
Hmm.
You can do this for free. And this is exactly what I would be telling them to do if they were you. That alone gives them enough confidence to say, okay, maybe I should take this seriously for the next 4 weeks and make
Hmm.
these changes. And then their life gets dramatically better spending not that much money. Give them resources to cook better, realize that they needed a certain amount of protein, they need to get a certain amount of fiber. They need to stop doing certain things like spraying their bodies with perfume every day because it's disrupting their hormones, et cetera, or whatever, right? Those sorts of
Well,
things,
hold on. Tell us all of the little, I mean, listen, we only have so much time and
yeah,
I'm sure this is a mountain of things, but if you were like, okay, if I could tell the listener who's like, we're at the starting point and now I'm like, I just put a Bath and Body Works, we won't smash Bath and Body Works, right? But I just put on some lotion all over my largest organ of skin, right? If there were some things like some easy lifts, like you say, that would be the things like this is going to because you're right like this I deal with behavior change all the time. You're like if this is not guaranteed, why would I do it, right? But
yeah,
something that would be like low lift, heavy, high output, like high potential of change, what are those kinds of starting point things that would give people a little bit of momentum to get started?
right. So the easy phrase that I say in our practice a lot is good stuff in, bad stuff out. And that's very seems very simplistic, but what that means is we need to get good things from the environment into our cells.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 steps. So getting it into our body is step number 1. So you have to consume it. Step
We
number
have to
2 is
what? Say that first part
you have
again.
to consume it.
Okay,
So you
so
have to
got
you
it.
have
It
to bring it in.
literally into your body. Okay,
Literally
okay, got
just
it.
have to
Not
eat it, right? So
energetically.
it's, you're not going to have good magnesium if it's not coming in.
Turns
Um,
out if the supplements are sitting on your nightstand and
yeah,
not going in your body, they don't do anything. Tracking. Okay.
exactly.
Consuming.
Yep. That's step number 1, right?
Uh-huh.
So then once they're in your gut, they have to get into your bloodstream, which is good gut health. And
Hmm.
there are 4 components of that we don't need to get into, but
Okay.
having good gut health, and then getting from your bloodstream into your cells. That's the next step, and that's another technical thing we don't need to get into. So that's
Okay.
getting good stuff in.
Good stuff in.
Bad stuff out is um, bringing. There's a pathway where bad things come out of your body. So your cells go to your lymph system and interstitial fluid, whatever, gets into your bloodstream,
I
and
don't,
then
you're the
it.
first person who's ever said interstitial fluid on my podcast. So
Thank you
congratulations.
very much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Once the stuff gets in your bloodstream, either your liver or your kidneys process it and you pee it or poop it out, basically.
Great.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
that those are the get good stuff in, get bad stuff out, all the way to the
Mhm.
cellular level.
Okay.
Getting good stuff in is basic at the basic level, it's nutrition. So getting the first level is getting it into your body.
Uh-huh.
So more protein is really good for most people. Most people
Mhm.
don't get enough protein.
Mhm.
This can be
Can
for
I just
me.
tell you the first time that a personal trainer asked me how much protein I was taking in, I like was so unaware that what I said to her was like, I think like 10. Like I was thinking in ounces,
There's no
right?
units,
But
just
you know,
10.
right. I was like 10, maybe 10 ounces. She was like, ma'am. I'm like, okay. Now that was okay. Well, more
Yeah,
protein. Got it. Most of us
probably
don't
more
know that. We're
protein.
not tracking it. Okay.
Yep.
Unless you're a woman over 40 now, we are all tracking our protein and electrolytes. Fine. We're doing the
Good.
thing.
That's a big change that's happened in the last few years too, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
so glad to hear that, and that's a big deal.
Okay.
Protein is good for, this is what most people think it's just for muscles and
Yeah.
fat loss, which it is great for that. It makes structural proteins.
Hmm.
And so, especially women over a certain age, you have got to be adding muscle mass as much as you possibly can while you can. And then
Because tell us the why.
the why is because, well, the big why for most women is that it helps your metabolic rate kind of. This is gonna be oversimplified. So if you're a doctor listening to this, but
Close your
it will
ears.
help your. I don't know if this is gonna get clipped because it will increase because your muscles are a reservoir for your metabolic health, and that helps you keep strength so that you don't break it, so that your stabilizer muscles
Yeah.
don't fail you when you get older and you're strong and you don't fall and break a hip and all that stuff. So, and you
Yeah.
can do what you want to do. The more
Hmm.
you, because the older you get, the harder it is to put muscle on, and muscle is very important for strength.
Yeah.
That also, because it's a reservoir for your metabolic health and blood sugar, will help you keep fat off of your body, which lots of women care about.
Yeah.
Every woman cares about,
Yeah,
right?
most
So,
of them. Some of them. Yeah. But I,
yeah,
but
well,
I think
women who
the
have too
why
much
is important when you're like,
injection.
this is the stuff that will keep you alive. Because I will selfishly, I'm asking that question for me because I'm like, listen, Jessica, we're committed to just 2 days a week doing resistance training. Have a tonal. You don't even have to try. It just tells you what to do. It lifts, it puts the weights on there for you. And still, so I need the why. Like, Jessica, well, if you don't want to break a hip, so you have to tell me, like, I'll go out and run
Yeah,
cardio all day long. Lifting weights is a whole process. So
lifting
I'm
weights
like
is a
the bad
process,
patient here.
but yeah, so because muscle mass, because every because it keeps you stronger and able to do and function with your body what you want to do when you get older.
Yeah,
So if you want to be able to walk for a
I
long and
do.
play with your grandkids, you
Do.
need muscle mass. If you want to be able to stabilize your body and have
Yeah.
your ribs work like they're supposed to work and not fall over and keep your balance,
Yep.
you need muscles. If you want your um if when you have like your balance is in your inner ear and
Uh-huh.
then your inner ear tells your brain what to do
Mhm.
and your brain then sends a signal to your muscles to tell them what to do to stabilize your body.
Yeah.
If you want those muscles to be able to respond when your brain says to do something,
You have to
you
have
need
them.
muscle mass.
Yeah.
If you want
They
to
have
be
to
able
be
to
there.
protect your bones when you do things in life and when you maybe fall or bend over, you need muscle mass.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the muscles them that's just for physical strength. The muscles themselves are reservoirs for metabolic health. So the more muscle you have, the more balanced your blood sugar is going to be. And 9 out of the top 10, this is serious, 9 out of the top 10 killers of people in the United States are either directly caused by or are exacerbated by, made worse by blood sugar problems. And so everything that you can do to make that better will keep you alive longer, keep you from having strokes, heart attacks, type 2 diabetes,
Okay.
kidney disease, etc. All from having more muscle mass.
Okay.
Not to mention, that's just resistance training.
Okay.
The protein also is what every enzyme is. Every enzyme in your body that does everything. An enzyme is a protein. It's made of amino acids that your body's breaking protein down to build. Enzymes do everything in your body. So if you
Mhm.
don't have enough, you're not able to make the enzymes that your body wants to make. You're not able to be strong. You're not able to
I'm
keep
happy
your
to
blood
report I
sugar
eat
down.
111 grams of protein a day now.
You are rare, and that's awesome.
I mean,
That
most
is
days I
absolutely
do try to
awesome.
track. That's the one thing I will track. I can't be bothered with Fitness Pal and all of that, but I will track the protein. Just so
Yep.
everyone listening, I'm like, listen, it's like the valedictorian in me is like, I need an A from all of you. Doc, will you please give me the A? I do all the protein now. I
You
am
definitely
doing
deserve
all
an
of
A for
that.
that. That's very rare.
And
So
immediately
good on
tomorrow,
you.
I want to start lifting. I'm tomorrow morning, I'm going to lift weights because I don't want to have a stroke or heart. Because I really do like the idea of dying, whatever, like to death. I'm not so worried about death. Age, like the like deterioration. That's the part where I'm
Mhm.
like, whoever's in charge of my exit date, could I just fall over? Like, I just want to be like having a great time, full able-bodied, and then just die.
Yep.
I don't know if I
You
get a
want to
say in that.
square that
Yeah,
off.
just
Yeah. You don't want to slowly
aneurysm. I
decline.
don't know, whatever, doc. You tell me like what just painlessly will take me out. I just fall in my sleep. I just don't wake up, but I want to be full bodied. But what I hear
Mhm.
you saying is, okay, Jessica, maybe if you want that, you could lift a weight a couple times a week,
Yes. I think
every day. Tell
that's
us
true.
what's the recommended. If you were telling your people, give it realistic. What's the idea? What's the like minimum viable? Like you have the snorkel above the water line. This is the minimum you need to do. Is it
Of protein intake
no?
or working out,
Oh, let's
lifting
tell
weights.
both. Tell me both. Yeah, I just made up numbers, but yeah, protein and the lifting of the weights.
Okay. So protein, you know what I would say? Here's an idea.
So,
Here's something everyone can do that's very simple and it's going to give you all the answers.
okay. Oh, great.
There's an app, and I'm not sponsored by this or anything like
Okay.
that. It's just what we use. There are a few that do this, but there's an app called Chronometer, which is very popular, and it's Chrono meter. there's no H like it sounds like this
Yeah,
is.
I hear cronuts and I feel like this app should, that sounds like people are gonna want a donut after this, but that's not the
Yeah.
point. Okay, chronometer.
Yes. Chronometer will allow you to just put in what you're eating. Put in
Okay.
your, you'll put your stuff in,
Hmm.
and it will tell you not only how much protein you should be getting based on your body and
Hmm.
fats and carbs and all that, but it estimates based on if you put all your food in. So pick like 3 to 5 days
Okay.
and put in literally everything you put in your body for those 3 to 5 days,
Okay.
and it will tell you all your micronutrients too. Like
Oh.
I realized when I did it last week actually again, and I realized I wasn't getting very much vitamin A at
Hmm.
all. So I started. It's really easy to get vitamin A. I just you just eat a carrot once a day, or
Oh.
half a carrot. I think it's half a cup of carrots. But there's plenty of food with vitamin A in it. Butter has vitamin A and all that. So egg yolks. But the point is, it will tell you all your micronutrients. So molybdenum or that's a bad example, but vitamin K and vitamin C and whatever,
Huh.
magnesium, manganese. It'll tell you if you're deficient in any of them, like what percentage of your daily value you're getting. So you can really get a good snapshot of how deficient you are in certain things or not. And so that'll not only tell you how much protein to get, how many carbs, calories, and all that stuff that you're getting every day, but then all the micronutrients that you should be getting in that you're deficient in. It will also, as you're putting the foods in, if you click on the food,
Hmm.
it'll tell you what it has in it. And then
Uh-huh.
if you hit your daily, score or whatever, daily, I forgot what it's called, your daily thing, it'll tell you what like if you hit like vitamin A, you click on vitamin A, it'll show you which foods you've eaten that day that had vitamin A in them. So you're learning which foods have which nutrients in them as you're doing this for 3 to 5 days. That'll tell you everything you need to know, and it's I think it's free. It may be a couple dollars now, but
All that
it's
I'm
a
hearing is like
great.
that chronometer is going to yell at me. Like when I'm like, how about those Cheez-Its I ate? How many micronutrients?
Well,
Going to be
you
like,
can
you failed.
yeah, I think don't
Yeah.
eat Cheez-Its. But no, it'll tell you actually lots of things will have good stuff in them. You're like, oh, I didn't realize it had, that cheese had these beneficial things. But
Who
like
knew
ice
my
cream, I
Snickers
had ice
was
cream and
just
put it on
packed with
mine, and it
protein?
showed me some good stuff that ice cream had in it, and I was like, see, no, but
Like it
everything
was
has
Greek
something in it.
yogurt ice cream. Those Yasso. I mean, this is not yeah, also not an ad, but
Yeah.
I think it had like who knew this has protein in it? I'm basically proteining it up. Okay, so we have this app
Yep.
that will tell us everything. Probably will hurt our feelings a little bit the first time we do it, and then
It
it'll
might,
be
but do you want to have your feelings hurt
die. So
or that's a little else.
no, it deteriorate
Yeah.
painfully. That's what I'll say.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be perfect. But I mean, if you're gonna be serious about your health, there's no way around it. Gathering data is the first step. You have to know where am I? Like I give this
Yeah.
analogy too. If I'm lost in the woods, this is from my army days though.
Yeah.
If I'm lost in the woods and I don't and I'm trying to find my next point, it's impossible to find the next point on the map if I don't know where I'm starting because I don't know where to set
Yes.
my compass. I don't know the direction.
Yes.
I can't ask for help. I'm just gonna be lost here running in circles.
Yep.
The first step is where am I now?
Yep.
And it's okay wherever you are.
Yep.
It's okay
Yeah.
because then you can take a step in the right direction. You can take another step in the right direction. You get closer to your goal.
Yep.
But if you just blindly walk around the woods like this because you don't want to be lost,
Yeah.
you're still lost, regardless of whether or not you're accepting it.
Whether you want to look at,
So
listen, that's the
yeah.
exact analogy I use with my clients. Like we have to put in the starting point and the destination and the GPS so we know. And
Yeah.
also, as I was saying, my drama that was coming up, I will literally talk about this with clients. Like it's math or drama. Like the numbers are it's just math. Like these are just the numbers. You're getting 4 grams of protein a day, right? Like that's just math. The story your brain is going to tell, that's the drama. We can deal with that. Like you have people like me in the world that will help you navigate your dramas.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get chronometer, whichever.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
not
don't even know how to
cronuts,
say it. I
not
just know how to spell it.
cronuts, listener, dear listener, not
Yeah.
cronuts. We're getting chronometer, and then we have to lift weights twice a week.
Yeah.
Twice a week
So
for
lift
10 minutes,
weights.
Doc. How's
Yep.
that gonna get? Is that getting my snorkel across the water line?
It can. Yeah. I mean, you know,
There's rules.
depending on where you are, don't feel like you have to lift weights if you're not there yet. So heal first.
Oh,
Get your diet locked in, sleep.
okay.
If your body is telling you that you don't if what I don't want people to do based on this recommendation is I feel terrible. I get headaches all the time. I'm
Mm,
just dehydrated. I just don't feel like going to and I'm stressed out and I'm gonna
Yeah.
heal myself off the bed after 4 hours just to because I got to go to the gym and lift weights. Don't do that. Okay, heal
Yeah.
first, get everything ready, and when your body's ready to start lifting weights, and you'll want to go. You may feel lazy and cold and not feel like getting up that day or whatever, but like don't push yourself through it
Yeah.
and stress your body out even more if that's not where your body is yet. So, but if you get when you get there and heal and you're eating well and sleeping well, not perfectly,
Yeah.
but enough to where you feel like my body can tolerate another stressor,
Yeah.
then lift weights. If you can't, stretch on the floor,
Hmm.
move, walk around the block,
Yeah.
move your body, move your lymph, move
Yeah.
your joints, get things flowing. That's a good start for you if that's where you are. If
Yeah.
you're ready,
Messy and perfect action.
messy and perfect action. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
And just I want to be mindful of time, but I'm going to ask this question, and I'm like, it's just an itty bitty question, but I don't believe that to be true, probably. But you said, like, don't. This isn't about stressing yourself out. Don't stress yourself out mentally, emotionally, physically. And I have a friend who's a functional or integrative medicine nurse practitioner, that sort of world, and she's like, when you start doing this, listen, if you have Jessica's brain, this stuff starts getting introduced, and I'm like, holy cow, I need a spreadsheet, and I have a tackle box with all of these different supplements, and I'm missing one. She's like, ma'am, the impact of stress on all of that, like, there's such a like you could be doing all the things. If it's stressing you out, you're probably not even getting the benefits from it that is needed, like the impact of stress on hormones and all of the things. So, what is your wisdom and guidance for us on? I mean, I know we hear it like in the zeitgeist, it's all the time stress, but like medically, it really is physiologically having an impact on us. So, like, what's your wisdom for us on stress?
yeah. So, man, yeah, this is a huge thing to open up.
Just click it. Let's just take a little chunk off, just wherever you want
Right.
to go in.
I think you have to have, if you're stressed, you have to sleep. I think if most people don't put enough emphasis on proper sleep,
Mm-hmm.
you should be preparing for your sleep hours before you go to bed, and you should not be on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And you should be not eating after a certain, like, try not to eat between at least 2 to 3 hours before bed if you can.
Mm-hmm.
And stay off your phone and sleep well. If you have dogs that are in the bed and you love your dogs and they're flopping around, licking you in the face and waking you up, you
Yeah.
cannot sleep with them.
I'm 0 for
If
10, right? I'm an 0 for 3. You said you said three things. I'm 0 for 10. I'm already 0 for 3, Doc. 2 to 3 hours. I love snacks at bedtime.
Yeah.
I'm like a 5-year-old. We need bedtime snacks. And I'm on my phone and I have an 85-pound golden doodle. So the Smarro household is about to get
All
some
right.
serious
So
overhaul.
don't stress out.
Yeah,
Pick one
pick
and
one.
do a little
Okay.
better
Yeah, I
and just
like
do a
it.
little better.
Iterative
And
action. We love that.
yep, just do a little, yep, do a little, just do a little bit. So
Yeah.
one thing that's easy to cut out is your phone. You don't even have to do anything differently. Just don't get on your phone.
Yeah.
Read a book instead.
Yeah. I love a book.
Talk to your partner
You
instead.
could read my book, Friends in Pursuit, just came
Read
out a couple
Jessica's
weeks
book.
ago. Uh-huh. Just read.
Absolutely. Yep. That'll put you to
Yeah.
sleep. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, but the thing is, it has to be
100%.
you can't read a good book. It has
Yeah.
to be like well, this is different for everybody, but
Mhm.
pick up probably a story that
Yeah.
you're interested in, but it's not like you're having to concentrate where it's,
Yeah.
you know,
Or that you're gripping and you're like one more chapter and then it's 3 a.m. because you had to finish Rebecca Yaros's latest book or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Not that book. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
those sorts of things will decrease your stress significantly.
Yeah. Okay.
Stress throughout the day, an easy thing to do too is people don't realize how much stress they have in their brain
Hmm.
um, by based on so if you go run like so people don't ever like their whole day is like a race, like a
Yeah.
marathon. It's like they're jogging all day and they're not stopping to take a water break. They
Hmm.
just do stuff. They wake up, kids, work, this, that, come back, this, that, I got a thing, and
Hmm.
then they try to go to sleep and then they're trying to like get on their phone and relax and veg or whatever, but they're on their phone and it's nighttime. If you don't have to change that much about your life, but if you'll set an alarm for 3 times a day, just set an
Hmm.
alarm on your phone to remind you to take a break
Hmm.
and then take 15 minutes. And that
Hmm.
sounds so simple, but here's this is what I want people to understand in their mind to
Locked
make
in.
this go home. If you're running a race and you stop, well, you don't just expect your body to be rested, right? You
Yeah.
expect that it's going to take 5, 10, 15 minutes for your heart rate to slow down, your parasympathetic nervous system to come back up, your sweat to stop, and your breath, your breathing to slow. It's going to take a little bit of time,
Yeah.
right? That's what's going on when with your brain when you're getting all these external stimuli. And so people will try to take a break and they'll say, well, every time I try to meditate, my mind's just going crazy. Of
Yeah.
course it's going crazy
Right.
because you're running and you don't just stop running and like my heart, I try to stop running, but my heart's going crazy.
Yeah.
Well, of course it's going crazy. You just stopped.
Yeah.
So if you'll stop doing that and say, okay, for this next 15 minutes, I'm going to let my mind slow down. I'm going to
Mm,
decrease visual stimuli because I'm not looking at a bunch of stuff. I'm going to decrease auditory stimuli because I'm not going to be having conversations with people. I'm going to get in a quiet space. I'm
mm,
going to slow down my breath and give yourself 10 minutes. Your brain will slow down too, just like your heart rate and your breathing will slow down if you stop running.
mm-hmm,
If you do that 3 times a day and just set an alarm,
mm-hmm,
do 10 minutes. That's 30 minutes total that day. And
mm-hmm,
you've given your body a chance, your parasympathetic nervous system a chance to elevate while your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight nervous system goes down.
mm-hmm.
That will reset you 3 times a day, and that will tremendously decrease your stress for free and and in a tremendous amount in a very sustainable way. If
Yeah.
you do that and do one thing every day that that benefits your sleep, which is we can get to that another day, but that will tremendously reduce stress for most people. And then you'll have a lot more bandwidth to do everything else you want to do. Love people
Yeah.
better, go to the gym, have more energy, eat better. You make better choices when you're not stressed. So when you're high
Yep.
stress, you crave high carbohydrate, high calorie foods.
Yeah.
And your ability to make good decisions goes down. But if you decrease your stress by making these decisions and doing these
Mm,
things, it's way easier to eat more
yeah.
healthily. And then it's a cycle that keeps improving. It's a positive feedback loop.
Okay, this is
So,
amazing. This is the
yeah,
experiment. I love to, when people listen to a podcast, I'm like, listen, this is passive action. You're listening, but go do massive action, do something with it. And so I'm always picking a good experiment. This is going to be mine, friend listening, if you want to join me. Because I don't know if you felt called out, but when he was like, oh, you just run all day and then you just want to zone out on your phone. I'm like, who's he talking about with your camera in my house? Okay. So the setting alarm 3 times a day, like we could do that, 15 minutes, 3 times a day. We can all do this. This is accessible. This is possible. Um, yeah, and we don't have to be perfect because Doc has already told
yeah.
us that we can live in the gray. So we're just gonna go for 3 times a day, 15 minutes. If you do it 3 times a
Start
day
with
for eight
one.
minutes,
Yep. Do
yeah,
once a day. Start with
yeah,
once a day.
twice a day. Yeah, amazing. Okay, I love that. That's my key takeaway.
Yep.
Okay, before I ask you my very last question, please tell the listeners where they can connect with you, learn from you, keep following the work that you're doing in the world.
Sure, yeah. So, the easiest place is probably frameworkwellness.com.
Okay.
It's just the website. I mean, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and all those things, not YouTube, but I'm on those. I'm trying to work on those, but I think the easiest way to find out what I do, my story, some testimonials and anything like that is on frameworkwellness.com, and you can contact me with any questions. There's a form on the bottom to just email us. We'd be glad to answer any questions you have, but that's the easiest place.
Okay, and for my very last question that I like to ask all the guests, what does it mean to you to live an unblocked life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I think defining your real purpose, what drives you and motivates you to feel like you've made an impact in people's lives when you lay down in bed at night, and then trying to focus on that during the day and blocking out all the negative things. For me personally, that's going to be imposter syndrome because I can have all the training in the world. I think I'm one of the best doctors in the world at what I particularly do. I still
Hmm.
every day I'm like, I wonder if he knows way more than me. I wonder if she's way better than me at this.
Hmm.
And maybe I shouldn't say anything because, whatever. And these things will come into my brain and I have to remind myself. I just have to know what I'm doing with this one particular thing really, really well and feel confident with this and have a lot of experience with this. And I just
Hmm.
say that's stuff and that's what's true and that's what really will help people. I don't have to know everything. So
Yeah.
imposter syndrome is real. And then another thing is I don't want to be wrong. I don't want
Hmm.
to say something that's incorrect because
Hmm.
I don't, and not because I care what people think about me, but because I just don't want to say something that's wrong to somebody. I want everything I say to be right, and so I end up
Hmm.
not saying anything.
Hmm.
Uh, is my tendency. So those are my two things. Yours can be whatever. But I
Hmm.
think if you have to figure out what's hindering you, be honest with yourself and say, what is keeping me from achieving my goal and making the most impact in the world? And then use what you have decided is your mission and what drives you to sort of motivate you to overcome those things.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, where my brain just went for a second. Again, this is not about promoting the book, but I can't help myself. It's my podcast. I can talk about my book if I want.
Yeah,
That's exactly like when I talk about setting a goal, like the goal is so arbitrary in some ways, but when like you have a mission or you have the thing you're going after, the really juicy part of that is about who you become in the process, right? Like what limiting things do you have to let go of? What like reach for the star parts of you that are like tucked into your elbows and nooks and crannies that you don't ever access? Like that's the joy of going after a goal. Not like, okay, finally I get a gold star. It's like, no, no, you're gonna have to let go of some BS to get there, and you're gonna like tap into some parts of you that have gone dormant or that you've never accessed. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, very
So
well.
great answer.
Yep, very well said.
I didn't even like that wasn't even a plant. You just walked right into that one though. Great answer.
Glad. Yeah.
Uh, well, thank you so much, Dr. Wright, for your time today. This was enlightening and it was brilliant, and it was actionable, it was motivating. So I'm super excited to take action on my end, and I invite the listeners to do the same. But thank you for sharing your time and wisdom with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and I'm glad and hopeful that I helped someone make one small change today, and that's all that
Well, rest
matters.
assured, if no one else, me. So
Great.
mission accomplished.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much.